So today's video is about a case that, God, it just completely shattered the peace of a quiet Phoenix neighborhood. It's a story that is genuinely haunting and just heartbreaking. Think about it. It's Friday, April 28th, 2023. It's a sunny day out there. The sky is clear, and you can feel the warmth of the desert air. The Reach 11 Trail in North Phoenix is, well, it's busy, full of hikers enjoying the scenery of the rugged terrain. Lauren Hikey, who was 29 years old, was one of them. She loved being outdoors, she loved her morning walks, and, the simple joy of a fresh cup of coffee. She heads out onto the trail near her apartment, just like she'd done so many times before. This time, though, she doesn't come back. That day, Lauren's story takes a horrifying turn. Right there on that beautiful path, out among the cacti and the dusty hills, the unthinkable happens. She's just gone. For over 24 hours, nobody has any idea where she is. Her friends, they really start to worry. She's not answering her phone. She doesn't show up for work. Then, on April 29th, a truly terrible discovery is made. A woman is walking her dog through the desert brush when she stumbles upon something that just stops her dead in her tracks. It's Lauren. She had been taken from this world in a way that left everyone asking why and who. Look, this isn't just another true crime story. The pieces of this puzzle are scattered all over that trail. It's a case that shook a whole city and tore a family apart. So, what was Lauren Hikey doing that morning? Was she alone? Did someone see her? This story has turns that will honestly keep you on the edge of your seat. From the frantic 911 call that first broke the silence to the relentless hunt for the person who did this. But before we get into the grim details of what happened on that North Phoenix trail, let's just take a moment to meet Lauren Hikey, the woman at the center of this. You couldn't just know her name and read about her. She was a daughter, a friend, and just this vibrant person who made an impact on everyone she met. So who was Lauren? She was 29, born and raised in Kitsap County, Washington. She'd later moved down to the heat of Phoenix, Arizona. Her family and friends described her as a burst of light, always happy, always kind, with a great sense of humor. She had that kind of energy that it made you feel lucky to know her. It was contagious. Lauren was an esthetician, helping people look and feel their best. She had only recently moved into a new apartment near the Reach 11 Trail, a place she loved for its peaceful, quiet beauty. She was an outdoors person, for real. She did a lot in the desert, hiking, walking, just soaking it all in. It was her happy place. On the morning of April 28th, 2023, she called her close friend, River Hubble, just like they did every single day. They were talking about what they were thankful for. And Lauren said she was grateful she could wake up, get a coffee, and go for a walk. Simple pleasures, right? But that call, damn, it was the last time River would ever hear her voice. She just moved to Phoenix for a fresh start to find a life filled with new possibilities. She had no idea that the trail she loved so much was about to become a total nightmare. It's just after 10 in the morning on April 29th, 2023. A horrifying scene is about to unfold on the Reach 11 Trail, which is a popular spot near 64th Street and Mayo Boulevard. Imagine just taking a walk, your dog right there with you, as the desert sun gets higher in the sky. That's exactly what one local woman was doing that Saturday morning. She walked this trail all the time, just like Lauren did. The area around Reach 11 is on the border between Phoenix and Scottsdale. It's got a mix of rugged and paved trails that give hikers and runners and dog walkers a sense of peace. But as she comes around a bend near Libby Street, she sees something. Off the main path, sort of hidden in the brush, it stops her in her tracks. There's a body, a woman, lying still in the desert sand. This wasn't just a random discovery. The woman walking her dog didn't know it yet, but this was Lauren. Terrified, she gets her phone out and calls 911. Phoenix police released the audio of that call in October of 2024, and it captures every single second of that discovery. She told the operator, oh God, she just found a woman's body out in the desert. She gave her address, and then she explained that she was just out walking, and there she was. She made it clear she hadn't touched her, hadn't even seen her face, but that it looked like she'd been there for a while. The operator told her she was being connected to the paramedics. She said, "Okay, thanks." Then the fire department dispatcher got on the line asking for the location of the emergency. The woman confirmed the address was a house out in Phoenix, yes. They asked her if her phone number was a good one to reach her at, and she said it was. She's struggling to get the words out. She just tells them, "There's a woman. I think she's dead." When the dispatcher asks her to repeat herself, she says it again, clearer this time, that she just saw a woman lying in the desert behind her house, and she's pretty sure she's dead. Okay, so the dispatcher tries to get some details. They ask her how old the woman looks. She guesses maybe in her mid-20s or 30. Then they ask for a clothing description. She tells them the woman is in workout clothes, a black bra, black pants, one of her shoes is off, and she has sort of blondish hair. The dispatcher tells her that help is on the way. Then they ask her a really tough question if she's able to get any closer. They tell her not to put herself in danger, but that it's really important to know if the woman is breathing. Help is coming, they assure her. She agrees to walk back out there, just for a second. The dispatcher asks if there are any weapons or drugs around her. She says no, it's just her. Okay. Any obvious injuries? Any bleeding? The woman says she needs to walk back out there to see. The dispatcher again tells her help is coming as fast as they can, but they really need to know if she's breathing. After a moment, she says, "It doesn't look like she's breathing." The dispatcher asks if she can see her chest rising and falling, and she says no. And then, dear Lord, she adds that there's blood coming from under her workout bra. Blood coming from her bra? The dispatcher asks if it looks like she was stabbed or shot. The woman says she doesn't know. She really can't tell. She can't see a hole or anything, but what she can see is that it looks like the body has been there for a while. That entire call was almost 5 minutes long, and you can just hear her voice shaking. She's terrified, trying to make sense of what she's seeing. The dispatcher seems to agree with her that the body has probably been there for some time. Police would later confirm that Lauren hadn't been seen for over 24 hours, not since her hike on the morning of April 28th. The woman noticing the blood under Lauren's sports bra, well, that was enough to show just how violent this tragedy really was. So, Phoenix police just swarmed the area. Around 10:30 in the morning, officers arrive, probably expecting to find an injured hiker, maybe from a fall or from the heat. I mean, that's a common kind of call for this part of the desert. But the second they see Lauren, they know this was no accident. Her body is hidden from anyone walking on the main trail, tangled up in some bushes right next to a barbed wire fence. There are signs of a struggle everywhere. Torn clothing, personal belongings, just scattered all over the place. First responders confirm that she's gone, and the scene shifts from a rescue operation to a full-blown investigation. Now, let's rewind just a little bit. That same morning, Lauren's friend, River Hubble, is starting to get seriously worried. Lauren hasn't answered her phone since the day before, when they had their usual call to talk about what they were thankful for. By Saturday, he's scared. She didn't show up for work, which was completely out of character for her. At almost the exact same time River is calling the police, his fears are starting to line up with the terrible reality unfolding on that trail. The Reach 11 trail, it's not some remote, isolated place. It's right near Scottsdale Road and Mayo Boulevard. It's a community spot where people feel safe, and that's what makes this so shocking. The woman who found Lauren knew the area well. Her husband had actually waved at Lauren while she was out hiking. They didn't really know her, but they recognized her. And now she's the one who had to break the silence with that frantic call, getting caught up in a true crime story that would grip the valley for months. The news reports from the scene were just surreal. They showed the spot where Lauren was found, where people had already started leaving flowers. And you could see just how unbelievably close it all was to this very nice residential neighborhood in North Phoenix. The cameras would then pan over to show some of that barbed wire they said she was chased through, and just how close that was to where they found her. That stuff is all over the hiking trail out there. But this was just the beginning of the chaos. Over the next few days, police received more 911 calls. 3 more people called in to report seeing a suspicious person lurking near the trail. someone who, just didn't seem like a typical hiker. They said it was a man who fit a description that quickly became a huge deal. The investigation is being led by Sergeant James Hester, and his team they know they have to move fast. With the community on edge, the clock is seriously ticking. The trails are just not safe anymore. The last time anyone heard from Lauren was during a conversation with her friend, River Hubble, around 10 in the morning on April 28th. She'd gone for a hike on a trail near her apartment that she knew like the back of her hand. But by the time that dog walker found her the next morning, more than 24 hours had passed since she was last seen. Police figure the attack happened on that Friday morning, most likely between 10 and 11 a.m., in a place that was hidden from the main trail. That seclusion, it's a hint. Whoever did this did not want to be seen. Phoenix police send out their forensic team to comb through the scene, looking for anything that could lead them to who did this. They bag up Lauren's shoe, which they found near the barbed wire, and her other belongings that were scattered all over, hoping to find some trace of another person. Detectives are now trying to figure out if this was a planned attack or just something that happened spontaneously. The state of her clothing suggests she fought back, maybe even tried to escape over that fence. And when they send that shoe to the lab, man, that's when things really change. In the first round of DNA testing, they find a profile that doesn't match Lauren. But they need more than just this one lead. This is where it gets crazy. While the lab is working, police are hitting the streets, they're talking to hikers, neighbors, anyone who might have been near Reach 11. 3 different 911 calls that came in a few days after the discovery pop up on their radar. The callers all said they saw a guy acting strangely near the trail. This guy, he just didn't seem to fit in with everyone else out there. He was described as being somewhere between 5'8" and 6 feet tall, wearing dark clothes and carrying a backpack. Still, it's not quite enough to pin him down yet. Then, on May 2nd, they get a huge break. Police get a hold of some surveillance video from a camera near the trail. It's fuzzy, yeah, but it shows a man running through the desert, his backpack just flying around. And this was right around the same time Lauren went missing. He's moving way too fast for just a casual jog. So, the police release the video to the public, calling him a person of interest. And the tips, they start pouring in. People who've seen this person before are calling Silent Witness, saying they've seen him in the area. One of the tipsters even mentioned a small but sharp pocket knife that he carried. You have to wonder, could that be connected to the scene? Phoenix police don't just stop there. They dig into Lauren's life, her job, her friends, her daily routines. They check if maybe someone had been watching her, especially since she just moved into that apartment near the trail. Was she targeted? Or was this just a random horrible act? At a press conference on May 3rd, Lieutenant Hester says he's leaning toward random, that the sheer brutality of the attack points to an impulse, but he's not ruling anything out. They don't need theories, though. They need proof. And back at the lab, they get it from the DNA on Lauren's shoe. It hits on a profile in a criminal database. Holy shit, it's not a guess anymore, it's a thread they can pull. Detectives compare the profile to the description from the surveillance video. It's a male in his early 20s from the area. They start to learn more and more about him, but they keep it quiet from the public. Why? They don't want to spook him while they're closing in. By May 3rd, the heat is on. Lauren's parents, Jeff and Lana, join the police at a press conference to just plead for help. Her mother, Lana, her voice just breaking, says, "Oh, she was my little girl." Their plea for anyone who saw a guy with a backpack or acting strangely to come forward, it works. More tips come in. One caller talks about a man who seemed unstable and lived less than a mile from the trail. Another person says he'd been fired from a job for making his coworkers uncomfortable. The pieces are all starting to stack up. And here's the catch. On May 4th, detectives get this unexpected break from a probation officer. This PO says the build of one of his clients matches the guy in the video. This client is on probation for robbery and disorderly conduct, among other things. He lives in Scottsdale, not far from the trail. Police then find out he was fired from a previous job because he was being aggressive toward women. Alarm bells are going off everywhere. They get his file and they compare it to the DNA, and what do you know? It's a match. They have their suspect. But they don't just go barging in. They start following him, watching his every move, and they discover he has a plane ticket to Detroit. Is he a flight risk? It sure looks like it. His coworkers confirm he's definitely the guy from the video, telling police, yeah, that's him. By Thursday night, May 4th, they're ready to move. In less than a week, they went from having no leads to having a very, very good one. And what comes next? The arrest. This is the moment Phoenix police finally get this person and the truth starts to come out. Let's break it down. Late Thursday night, just 6 days after Lauren's body was found on the Reach 11 trail, the suspect police have been following for days, watching his every move, is 22-year-old Zion William Teasley. His apartment is less than a mile from where Lauren was last seen, right near Scottsdale Road. He's a local. You've got the DNA on her shoe. You have surveillance video of a man running through the desert, and all those tips about a guy with a backpack. Everything is pointing straight at him. And he has absolutely no idea the net is closing in. Here's the thing. Zion has been on probation since 2018 for armed robbery and disorderly conduct. He was only 17 at the time. When his probation officer saw that he matched the description, she was the one who alerted the police. But what really seals it? That DNA match. His profile is already in the system. When his coworkers who saw him running that day tell police he's the man in the video, they know they've got him. And get this. He has a plane ticket to Detroit for May 5th. If they had waited just one more day, he might have been gone. Teasley apparently used to be in the Marines, but the U.S. Marine Corps says he never actually finished his training. In a statement, they said their record shows Zion Teasley started recruit training at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego on March 25th, 2019. But he was separated on June 17th, 2019, before even finishing boot camp. Citing the Privacy Act, they said they couldn't release any more information. On May 4th, Phoenix police do not mess around. They put a plan together and show up at his apartment around 6:30 in the evening. Body cam footage that was released later showed officers just pounding on the door, yelling, "Phoenix police, open up!" He walks outside with his hands up, gives no resistance at all. They handcuff him right there, and the suspect is taken into custody. The whole thing takes maybe 10 minutes. A textbook takedown. So who is this guy? Zion William Teasley is not your typical hiker. He was born in Scottsdale back in 2000 and had been rapping since he was a kid, but in 2018, he and two friends held up a jack-in-the-box. Zion was the one who pointed a gun and demanded the money. He ended up taking a plea deal and got probation instead of jail time. He was supposed to be getting his life on track. Instead, he just bounces between short-term jobs at fast food places and retail stores, never staying anywhere for long. People who worked with him, especially women, told police that he made them feel unsafe. A manager at a place called Primo's fired him in 2022 because he just lost it and hit a female coworker. The manager called him unstable. That anger? Man, it's a huge red flag. When police search his apartment, they find a small, sharp knife that's consistent with Lauren's injuries. They also confiscate his clothes and the backpack from the video. It's all adding up, and fast. Phoenix police book him into the Maricopa County Jail on May 5th, charging him with first-degree murder, robbery, and tampering with evidence. That's right. Police believe he didn't just attack Lauren. They think he stole something from her as well. At first, Zion says nothing. During his interrogation, he just plays dumb, claiming he was nowhere near Reach 11 that day. But when police confront him with the DNA and the video, he just shuts down. Those silent witness tips paint a clearer picture. In the days leading up to the attack, his neighbors saw him pacing near the trail, acting agitated and just out of place. One hiker even saw him arguing with someone else. Did he scout the area on April 27th, the day before Lauren went missing? Police think so, but they're still piecing together the motive and why his path crossed with Lauren's path. By May 6th, Lieutenant James Hester of the Phoenix Police Department steps up to the microphone. He says, in this very steady voice, that they believe this was a random attack. The suspect had no prior connection to the victim. Lauren's parents, Jeff and Lana, are standing nearby with these just heartbreaking looks on their faces. Her father, Jeff, thanks the public, telling them it's because of their tips that they caught him. Even with an arrest, the case is far from over. While Zion Teasley sits in jail facing charges that could change his life, his past paints a picture of a man who lost control. For Lauren's family and friends, it's a small step, but it's a step toward justice. The case in Phoenix is still ongoing, and Lauren's family is still waiting for justice. His murder trial is set for October 28th, 2025, in the Maricopa County Superior Court. So, why the long wait? The stakes in this case are incredibly high. The DNA from Lauren's shoe, the surveillance video of a man running near the trail, and all those witness tips, they all point to Zion. On the flip side, his defense team is probably scrutinizing every single piece of evidence, from his cell phone data to that pocket knife they found in his apartment. Pretrial hearings have stretched on into 2025 as both sides prepare for a fight. Back in May of 2023, Phoenix PD Lieutenant James Hester said it was a random attack because Zion and Lauren had never met. That's still the official theory. But in December of 2023, Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell filed a notice to seek the death penalty if Zion is convicted, and that just raised the stakes even higher. In a statement made through Arizona's Voice for Crime Victims, Lauren's family said they'll be there every step of the way to make sure Lauren gets justice. It's a high-stakes decision. When the death penalty is on the table, it means more scrutiny, more preparation, and a much longer wait for a trial. And it's not just Lauren's case that Zion is dealing with legally. In July of 2024, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office added charges from an assault and burglary that happened back in 2020. This was another attack involving a knife where the victim survived. Then on February 5th, 2025, 12 News reported that he was charged with 10 more counts of misconduct with minors for things he allegedly did in 2019 and 2020. Court records apparently show that he admitted to sending explicit material at that time. Now, all of those charges have since been dropped. But they do paint a picture of a man with a very complicated past. You have the armed robbery in 2018, the fact he was on probation when Lauren was killed, and now all of this. So where do things stand now? Well, Zion is in jail. After his first court appearance, he was given a $1 million bond. But he's being held without bond now because he violated his probation. There's a mountain of proof. The DNA, the video, and the co-workers who told police that he has a history of being aggressive toward women. Not yet, though. Through all of this, Lauren's parents have consistently expressed their gratitude to the Phoenix PD and the community for all their support. ABC 15 spoke about her in May of 2024, and God, their grief is still so raw. They've now had to go through 2 Christmases without her. But for now, justice is on hold until October of 2025, unless there are further delays. So the legal system it grinds on slow and methodical while a family waits for a trial that's still months away. But back in that Phoenix neighborhood, back on the Reach 11 trail, things are different. The path is still there. The cacti still stand against the desert sky. But the peace that Lauren Hikey loves so much, it's been tainted. There's a shadow there now, a quiet fear that hangs in the warm air. Hikers look over their shoulders a little more often. A friendly hello on the trail is met with a bit more caution. Because this case reminded everyone of a truly terrifying truth, that evil doesn't always lurk in dark alleys. Sometimes it's just walking in broad daylight right beside you. When you really break this down, when you look at all the shattered pieces, what was the key factor that led to this tragedy? How does a simple, beautiful morning walk turn into a national headline? Honestly, it seems to come down to a horrifying collision of a broken person and a random opportunity. You have Zion Teasley, a man who was not a mystery. I mean, the red flags were there, they were everywhere. A history of violence, robbery, instability, and aggression, specifically toward women. He was already on probation. The system had had its chance to intervene, and yet there he was, free to walk that same trail. He was a ticking time bomb, and the justice system hadn't diffused him. That's the first and maybe the most enraging part of this. The second part is the randomness of it all. Lauren was just living her life, doing something she loved, something that brought her joy. She was in a public place in the middle of the morning, but the attacker found a moment, a spot just off the main path, a brief window of seclusion to commit this horrific act. It wasn't about who Lauren was. It was about the simple, awful fact that she was there and she was alone. The key factor that drowned out everything else that beautiful morning was the presence of a predator who saw an opportunity and chose in that moment to destroy a life for no reason at all. It's the senselessness of it that's the hardest to stomach. And it just, it makes you think, what can you even do? How are you supposed to protect yourself when the monster could be anyone, just a random person on the same trail? And look, there's no foolproof answer, and we should never ever blame the victim for the actions of a criminal. But reflecting on this, there are things, small things, that can maybe shift the odds, you know? The first is just situational awareness. It sounds like a cliche, but it's everything. Maybe you take one earbud out when you're walking or running alone. Just listen to the world around you. Notice the people you pass. Do you see the same person more than once? Does someone's pace match yours for a little too long? Pay attention to that feeling. And that's the second thing. Trust your gut. That little voice in the back of your head, the one that gives you that weird prickly feeling on your neck when someone gets too close, you have to listen to it. Seriously. Don't dismiss it because you don't want to be rude or you think you're overreacting. If someone is making you uncomfortable, cross the street. Turn around and go back the way you came. Go into a store. Your safety is more important than anyone else's feelings. Your intuition is your oldest, most primal alarm system. Don't ignore it. It also helps to let someone know your plan. Tell a friend or a family member exactly what trail you're taking and when you expect to be back. Apps that share your location in real time can be a good idea too. If something goes wrong, that information cuts down the time it takes for people to realize you're missing, and it gives them a place to start looking. And look, carrying some form of protection, whether it's pepper spray or a personal alarm that makes a piercingly loud noise, it's not about paranoia. It's about having a tool that can create distance, disorient an attacker, and draw attention to your situation, giving you a chance to get away. And finally, and this goes without saying, but it needs to be said, if you are ever in a situation where you feel you are in immediate danger, do not hesitate. Don't think about whether it's a real emergency. Don't worry about bothering anyone. You pull out your phone and you call 911. That is what it is for. Your life is not worth the risk of second-guessing yourself. It's the single most important number to have, not just in your phone, but burned into your mind for when you need help right now. It is the hotline for rescue in the United States, and it's there to be used